they are yoked to this great purpose. Any kind of austerity is meaningless unless your purpose is to achieve a higher style of life, a higher type of life. The highest life is spiritual realization. Then comes first, what is that? Discrimination between real and the unreal. In Vedanta it is put in a succinct form. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Devam Rupo Vinishchayaha Soyam Nityanitya Ustu Viveka Pariga Samudahritaha. Brahman alone is true. This world is a passing show. It is today is, tomorrow it is not. Firm conviction in this truth is absolutely essential. That is called the first qualification. Discrimination between the real and the unreal, the eternal and the non-eternal. God alone is real. Everything else comes and goes. The ocean alone is real. The waves come and go. They are just names and forms. That kind of knowledge. This is Vedanta. And listen to Einstein. In the new physics he says, there are two realities. The field and the particle. The energy field, quantum energy field and the particle. Both certainly cannot be true. For the field alone is true. There's a language. That field alone is true. These are only temporary manifestations. They come and go. Similarly in Vedanta, Brahman alone is true. From Brahman all this universe has come, play for a moment, disappear. That is why in Shankara's poem you read, like a bubble of water on a lotus leaf, trembling, any moment it will fall. Such is human life. And we realize it when we think about it. When we discriminate, we realize that is true. How short is human life? Within this short time we must achieve something really great. That kind of urgency will come to us when we know you can't take it easily. You must work hard, achieve as soon as possible. Any moment death may come. That language is used in much of our literature. Grihita eva kesheshu mrityuna dharmamacharet. A floating verse tells us, as if death is holding you by the hair. With that feeling, practice dharma, practice ethical and moral values, because any moment things will go. That's why this wonderful idea, what is true, what is not true, the one remains, the many change and pass. That is Shelley, the British poet, striking a Vedantic note. The one remains, the many change and pass. Ramakrishna said, zeros have no value, but put one behind them, then they get value. It becomes 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Every zero adds to the value. But take the one away, a string of zeros, it has no value. So God, then the world has a value. Take God away, world becomes zero. Tadatmana vinarmuktaha jagat asat sampadyate. Shankara comments in the Isha Upanishad. Take the Atman away from the universe becomes a zero. Take that field away, particles become zero. Without the field, how can particle have any reality? These are all common language in modern physics and in our own Vedantic way of treating subject of reality. Then, Ihamutra Phalabhoga Viragas Tadanantaram is said, renunciation of desire to enjoy fruits of pleasure, etc. here and in a future heaven. That should not be. So here, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. This world, as you see it, is not true. It passes, it goes away. But if you can see God behind it, then it is true. That's what the Bhagavata said. The first verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam said, this world is true. Why? Because behind it is God. I recognize it. Once you recognize God behind the world, then the world is true. It's not at all false. But as it is, if you deal with the senses, it is just false. It perishes every minute, as your body also is perishing every minute. Therefore, this is called Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. That's a beautiful idea. Then what is Vairagya? What you call renunciation of enjoyments in heaven or in the earth. Tad Vairagyam Jihasaya Darshana Sravanadivihi Dehadi Brahmaparyante Anitye Bhogavastuni. All objects of enjoyment, from this body up to Brahma, the Creator. These are all objects of enjoyment. Brahma also is a status. You do good work, you become a Brahma. Just like in our political life, do something, you get a status, governor of a state. Temporary, just 5 years. So also is Brahma. A few years he is there, then another man will come there. These are all status. So this attachment to status must go from body up to that state. These are profound ideas of Vedanta, which are echoed in books written by Western writers today. In Jung's book, Modern Man in Search of a Soul, he says there, constant running after status, achievement, will destroy a man's integrity. He must develop his own inner life. That must be also considered as an important work by man. Only status, external. Here is saying the same thing. Tadvairagyam jihasaya darshana shravanadibihi dehadi brahmaparyante anitye bhogavastani. Complete renunciation of desire to enjoy any such status, beginning with up to the Brahman status. Complete sense of renunciation. No, I don't want. I want the truth. I don't want all the status and pleasure, etc. That is called vairagyam, renunciation. Then, virajya vishayavratat, doshadrishtya muhurmuhu, swalakshe niyatavastha, manasa shama uchyate. Now comes the 6 virtues, 6 treasures a human being can have. Shama, Dhamma, etc. So Shama is being defined here. These are all fine definitions, classical. People quote it in all their expositions of spiritual life. Virajya vishayavratat, doshadrishtya muhurmuhu, swalakshe niyatavastha, manasa shama uchyate. This human mind has a tendency to run out every time. Something attracts it, it runs out. You have no say in the matter. It goes on its own. That should stop. It will go only when you want it, not otherwise. This discipline of the mind and keeping it in its own state, not allowing it to go as it likes outside, that state is called Shama. Merely means perfect self-discipline. The mind goes when I want it to go, not when it wants to go by itself. When you want to ride a horse, the horse will run about here and there. You have no control. Then the horse enjoys it. You become a victim. So also the mind takes us here and there. Today to crime, tomorrow to delinquency, day after tomorrow to bribery, corruption. Mind does everything. You have no say in the matter. There is no Shama there. Shama comes when the mind obeys you. What a beautiful concept of human development. The mind is your servant. Mind is an obedient servant to you. Can you make it so? Then everything is fine. In a later verse he will say, whoever has purified this mind and controlled it, to him freedom is like a fruit in the palm of one's hand. So palpable freedom becomes. Today man is not free. He is dragged here and there. A little temptation, I fall down. Just like a little wind, this tree falls down. Why? It has no root. It is shallow rooted. Man also shallow. He is rooted only in the physical system. So everything attracts him and he falls down. We are seeing it all over the world today. This kind of weakness of man inwardly, outwardly is very fine. Something is wrong within him. So begin with this wonderful quality of Shama. These are highly praised in our songs, in our hymns, etc. Swalakshe niyatavastha. Let the mind remain in its own state. Let it not run about at wantonly. We shall make it go when we want it to go. That state is called Shama. Then, next is Dhamma. Vishayebhya paravatya thapanam swaswagolake upayesham indriyanam sadama parikirtiraha. This is called Dhamma. Dhamma is called self-control relating to the sensory system. Shama is respect to the manas or the mind. Now here are the 5 sense organs of perception, 5 sense organs of action. All these 10 organs must be kept in their own respective areas within the system. Whenever you want them to go, they will go. They themselves should not go whenever they like. But how does crime arise? The senses run after things without your control. After it has done the mischief, only you come to know it. Then you become a criminal. So that this control is absolutely essential. So that is called Dhamma. There is a beautiful verse, I think the Mahabharata, the word Dhamma and the word Mada. Mada in Sanskrit means inebriation. You take wine, you get inebriation. That's called Mada. The opposite is Dhamma. So reverse Mada, you get Dhamma. Reverse Dhamma, you get Mada. It's a beautiful word. 3 inebriations are there for every human being, says that verse in the Mahabharata. Says, inebriation coming from birth and pedigree. Don't you know who I am? That attitude. That's also inebriating. Then money, then power. All these are inebriating. For whom? For an unrefined person, indisciplined person. But those who are well-disciplined and cultured, they become Dhamma and no more Mada. Sanskrit words are beautiful in that verse. Vidya Mado, Dhana Mado, Abhijata Madas Tatha. Vidya Mada. A man gets a little knowledge, he becomes proud. Very proud. Don't you know I am? That attitude. Vidya Mado. Because he has not digested that knowledge. Vidya should make you humble. That's a language in Sanskrit. Vidya Dadadi Vinayam. Real knowledge must make you humble. What a beautiful idea Sri Ramakrishna said. When the paddy is unripe, it stands erect. When it is ripe, it falls down. What a beautiful example. When a man is ripe in wisdom, he doesn't stand erect, he falls down with respect to everybody. Sense of humility. That's called natural Dhamma. Says it. Virajya Vishayavrata Doshatrishtya Muhurmuhu. See evil in that running after things. The eye goes after this, ear goes after this, there is trouble. Check them, control them. Let them not take command of you. That is all Dhamma. So, 3 inebriations are there for man, said the verse. Vidya Mado, Dhana Mado, wealth. New wealth particularly. Old wealth is better. New wealth is new rich people, proud, vain, crude, all that is coming from new wealth. Meaning thereby, instead of his digesting wealth, wealth is digesting him all the time. That's called second, Vidya Mado, Dhana Mado. Third is Abhijata Madas Tatha, pedigree. That's also a big inebriation. Mada ime avaliptana. To the uncultured and unrefined, these are inebriations. But these very things become highly digested by a highly cultured person. Ta eva mahatam dhammaha. To the mahatam, to the mahatmas, they all become dhamma means they perfectly control them. Plenty of wealth he may have. His head will not become proud. He may have high pedigree. He will not misbehave at all. He may have high knowledge. He will be very humble. That's called mahatam. The great people are able to digest all these things. But the small people get digested by all of them. So Dhamma is a great quality which every civilized community must develop. Without that Dhamma, there is no culture and civilization. Shama is absolutely essential and they always go together. Shama Dhamma, Shama Dhamma. Always they say. Control of the senses, control of the mind. It is a wonderful subject now being investigated in modern neurology. That here the body of man, there is a tremendous discipline within the body which nature has done for you. What is that discipline? Homeostatic condition. Your temperature remains constant. No fluctuation. If at all it fluctuates, it restores itself automatically. Similarly, the composition of your blood, iron, oxygen, all these things, whenever you work, it is disturbed and the body restores it to equilibrium. This built-in equilibrium within the body is called homeostasis in neurology. And neurologists say this nature achieved in the later mammals and finally in man also. A physical homeostasis nature has achieved for you. A built-in equilibrium. Now you must get a mental homeostasis by your own efforts. That mental homeostasis is what you call Shama and Dhamma. A built-in equilibrium. What a beautiful concept. Something comes and disturbs the mind immediately becomes calm by its own nature. You have trained it. So also the sensory system. So that is why these 2 virtues are highly commended for anyone who wants to develop ethical sense, moral sense, humanistic impulse, a concern for other human beings. All this will come only on the basis of this Shama and Dhamma. Ethics, morality, all this depend upon this wonderful self-discipline. Not somebody else discipline me, like a teacher with a rod, policeman with his baton. No, I discipline myself. Just like we discipline a river by putting a dam and getting channels out of it. What a beautiful service that river does thereafter. But when it is not done, its floods will destroy houses, property. Therefore, we train the rivers, but we hardly train this psychic energy that is within ourselves. That's what you see in India today. All sorts of indiscipline, violence, crime, everything going on. Why? We have never done training of the energy within us. We are doing a lot of training of physical nature's energies. Now it is time we also turn our attention to discipline the energies that are within us. That whole subject is known as Shama and Dhamma. Friends, yesterday we were studying towards the end verse 23, 22 and 23 dealing with Shama and Dhamma. These great concepts and terminologies become brighter and more relevant when you put them in the context of modern science, particularly the study of the brain and the nervous system, the development of the higher brain in man. Yesterday I referred to the homeostatic condition that nature has built in for all of us in our body. Everything is kept in a equilibrium without your effort. What is its significance? One of the great neurologists of Bristol, Grey Walter, says, for mammals all, homeostasis meant only survival. But for man it means emancipation. It's a wonderful sentence. Man is put on the road of achieving freedom by this homeostatic condition, because it is this condition that helped to develop the higher brain in man. And that is the greatest gift nature has given to us. 500 cc in a chimpanzee. We have 3-4 times more than that. That is the great gift nature has given. But most people never use this higher brain at all. They are busy with survival, which nature does for you without your effort. So that to use this higher brain for survival is not at all commended in neurology. In fact, one sentence Grey Walter says, by relegating the menial tasks of the body, like maintenance and survival, to the lower brain, nature released the higher brain for purposes greater than mere homeostasis. What are those purposes? Freedom. You can be free. That is the theme of Vedanta. How to take this man, put him on the road to freedom, with the equipment nature has given to you. This wonderful body-mind complex. We must know how to handle it. Then something great will happen. As a single book giving a profound insight into this subject, this Vivekachudamani is supreme. It is a study of man in depth. What are the possibilities hidden in you and me? We must discover this truth. The equipment given to us by nature must be properly cleaned, kept fit and fine, just like a workman keeps his tools in good condition. If he is a carpenter, his chisels all must be sharp and in good condition. Similarly also a doctor, a surgeon, all his instruments must be in good condition. Man must do the same with regard to this most efficient and beautiful instrument, this body-mind complex. That insight we are getting here step by step. Several of the statements in this book may refer to men and women of a highly evolved type. A monk, a man who has realized the Atman, such words you will find here. But understand that it has profound reference to all of us wherever we are. They have gone far away, far ahead. We are far behind. But the equipment is the same. We can also start our journey, first step, second step, third step. That is how we have to understand Upanishads, Gita, this Vivekachudamani. So many high ideas come there. They are so high. What can they relate to me? I am so ordinary. It is the high people who were once ordinary. They did not come high at the beginning. They evolved. And today's word is evolution. Are you evolving? Nature has evolved from the cosmic, through the organic, to the human level. But now, nature doesn't do it for you. You do it yourself. The rest of the evolution is in your hands. That is the uniqueness of man. For that, nature has given us this versatile organ, the cerebral system. You can now give a shape to your life. In no other literature will you find this beautiful idea put in such cogent, convincing language as in the Vedanta. And in this book, you get it plenty. Evolution is the word. Nature has given you this tremendous organ. Utilize it to carry this life energy to highest level. What is that level? Absolute freedom and absolute fearlessness that can be achieved here and now, in this very world, in this very body. These ideas will come plenty when you go through these 580 verses. These lessons are intended to stimulate study and thinking. Our country has neglected this great subject since independence. Earlier several centuries, we never knew this scientific aspect, the spiritual aspect of this philosophy. We lost ourselves in a few rituals, running after magic and miracles. We ruined this whole country thereby. But in this period, we can do some great wonder. Human development. This average human being can develop, can grow in stature, can expand in love and sympathy, can become a big man, what we call in Sanskrit, Mahatma. We can all be Mahatmas. Why only one Mahatma? The whole of India has got only one Mahatma. All can be Mahatmas. Mahatma. Expansion of consciousness. That's what you will get through the study. When consciousness is restricted by the body-mind complex, it is small and petty. That's called the ego within us. When you release it from this restriction, it expands, it grows, sympathy, understanding, love, compassion. What a wonderful picture of human development, human growth, human evolution. It is human evolution that is being studied here. Where shall we go from here? Shall we go on eating, drinking, again drinking, and one day, Ram Nam Satya Hai, we are taken in procession. Only when you die, we realize Ram Nam Satya Hai. That you don't realize. People who carry you, they repeat it. You never repeated Ram Nam Satya Hai. In North India, when dead bodies are carried, they recite this, Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai. If you had known it a little earlier, how nice it would be. That is why there has been so much of what you call small-mindedness, cheap-mindedness in our search. Today, with the scientific background, strong, rational background, we can take up this question on a rational basis and build up the manhood and womanhood of this country. Physically strong, mentally alert, with a scientific frame of mind and deep human values, ethical and spiritual values. That growth, that is the theme of this book. When you go deeper and deeper, every step is mapped out. That is Shankara's gift. Among other great gifts he has given to us, this wonderful VIVEKACHUDAMANI. Those who know Sanskrit can enjoy the beautiful Sanskrit, a master of Sanskrit, Shankaracharya. A twist and turn of phrase, so much meaning will come. In other books also you will find the same thing. So, two virtues we study among the six, what we call the six treasures. Shat Sampatti. Bank account is called physical sampatti. You can purchase motor cars, refrigerators, fine dress, plenty of food, all that you will get from that bank account. But there is another bank account within, the treasure that you develop in yourself. That's called Shat Sampatti. Six treasures. First, Shama, discipline of the mind. Two, Dama, discipline of the sensory system. They must go together. One is connected with the other. Third is being said now, Uparati, the withdrawal of the mind so that it remains within itself and it goes out when it wants to go out. Nobody can pull you out. If a policeman pulls you out of the house, what does it mean? You are not free. You have done some crime. But when you go out yourself, you are free. In this way, the mind must get the capacity to remain where it is, goes out when it wants to go out, comes back when it wants to come back, then only you are free. Otherwise, they are all prisoners in the jail. They have no freedom to come out, no freedom to go in. They are bound. That is our state today. So the third quality is called Uparati, and it is defined in a brief sentence. Bahya analambanam vrittehe esha uparatiruttama. This is supreme or the best Uparati, by which this human mind and its various modifications or vrittis do not run out in spite of yourself, without your sanction. That is called Uparati. Vritti means mental modification. Whenever I see an object, some modification takes place in my mind. That's called vritti. Just like put a small stone in a lake, there is a wave. That wave in the mental lake, chitta lake, is called vritti. Its control is the purpose of yoga. All spiritual training is meant to control this vritti. In no animal is this control available. As soon as it gets an experience, mind is thrown into a wave. It has no control over it. Man alone can regulate and control and discipline mental reactions to external stimuli. That is the freedom that you have. Only utilize it, strengthen it. Just like we say India got freedom in 47. It is only a promise. You have to strengthen it step by step by economic and social development. Similarly, some freedom we have. Only we must cultivate it, develop it. Why should somebody pull me out? I shall be myself. What a beautiful concept. Be yourself. Now in education, this is an important subject. That's why in the UNESCO report on education in this post-war period, there is a beautiful title to their recommendations. It was a committee presided over by the French Minister of Education, later on became Prime Minister of France, Edgar Faure. And the title is Learning to Be. Education must aim not only at learning to do, but learning to be. Be yourself. That's a wonderful new dimension of education. Vedanta takes you in that line. Be somebody. Achieve something. Then do something. Let the doing be an expression of the fullness that is within you. That is why uparati is necessary. The mind is steady. It's not allowed to run about here and there. What a wonderful training. Even little training. It gives you a sense of command. You are yourself. You are free. You are free. You are not a slave of something. That is why this cerebral system is meant to be exercised to give man this strength, this freedom. Nobody can shake you. You can shake yourself. This brain is meant to control this whole psychophysical system. If the brain doesn't do it, if the sense organs go on pulling the brain all the time, pulling the mind all the time, where is freedom? We say in language, dog has a tail and a head. Now, it wags, the tail wags, and the head moves. So we have to ask the question, does the head wag the tail or the tail wags the head? In most people, it is the tail that wags the head. That's what is the state of man. It is the head that should wag the tail. When I want, I shall wag it. No, automatically it does. That should go. It begins with this wonderful discipline, Shama Dama Uparati, Bahya Analambanam Vrittehe, Esha Uparati Ruttama. This is supreme, best Uparati. Then comes wonderful definition of Titiksha, a capacity for endurance. He who endures, he alone will survive. A little trouble came, you fell down. Then you have no hope of survival. This body system has been built with some strength within it, so they can survive even difficult situations. Similarly, the mind must have the strength to face difficulties, obstacles, and remain strong and steady. That quality is known as Titiksha. We all use it in our language in Telugu also. Titiksha, capacity for endurance. Somebody scolded me, I became sorrowful, grief-stricken, I committed suicide. No endurance at all. So tender like a mimosa pudica plant. You just blow at it, it goes like that. Man should not be like this. A power of endurance is necessary. So what is Titiksha? The most perfect classical definition you get in this shloka. Verse 24 says, Sahanam sarvadukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilapa rahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. So many experiences come to you, joy, sorrow, success, failure. Things which you can control, control. But things which you cannot control, have the capacity to bear. That is the language. Sahanam sarvadukkhanam, enduring all sorrows and griefs and sufferings in life. Apratikara purvakam. I am not going to take any retaliatory action to remove it. I shall just bear it, the capacity to bear. And when you bear, you shouldn't have a complaining mind. Bear with sense of joy. That's called chinta vilapa rahitam. Without chinta, without vilapa. You may endure, but inwardly you are feeling miserable. You are feeling very, very unhappy. There is no titiksha there. It's just like a man who fasts on Ekadashi day, but all the time when the bell rings, he feels miserable. There is no virtue in that Ekadashi fasting. When you take a fast, do it with joy. Similarly, chinta vilaparahitam, without chinta, without vilapa. Sa titiksha nigatyate, that is called titiksha, endurance. The endurance is essential in human life. How many experiences come to us? Some are trying to pull us down, but we want steady. We stand steady. That capacity must be developed. Swami Vivekananda gives a fine example of titiksha in his book Karma Yoga. A mosquito sat on the horn of a bull. After some time, it felt a little qualms of conscience. Why should I trouble this bull? So he told the bull, Mr. Bull, I am sorry. I have been troubling you all the time. I am going away. I am not going to trouble you anymore. What did the bull say? No, mosquito, continue to sit there. It doesn't give me any trouble at all. Bring your whole family and sit there. That is titiksha. When you have a heroic strength, you are able to do endurance. Somebody abused you. It doesn't mind. It doesn't touch you at all. Then there is endurance. No, somebody abused me. I go on thinking about it. He abused only once. By thinking of it, I inflate it into a big thing. He has forgotten. I cultivate all the time that misery. I become my own enemy. There comes the need for titiksha. I can stand it. I can stand it. That capacity. Sa titiksha nigadyate. Then, what is shraddha? One of the great qualities mentioned there. Shraddha means faith. Not faith means believing everything. No. Shraddha has got a great meaning in Sanskrit. First it means faith in oneself. I can, that attitude. Faith in the infinite energy hidden in me. Faith in others as well. Then only you can have a happy interhuman relationship. So Shraddha is defined here by Shankaracharya in a very precise definition. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satyabuddhi Avadharanam Sa Shraddha Kadhita Sadbhi Yaya Vastu Upalabhyate. The conviction that what the Shastra says, what science says, whether it is physical science or science of spirituality, as a science, it tells us something. I must have the conviction that it is true. I must develop the capacity to reach it to the truth level. Satya Buddhi Avadharan. Not merely believing. Believing it is true. That is a tremendous spiritual and mental discipline. Sa Shraddha. That is called Shraddha. Yaya Vastu Balabhyate. By which you can realize the truth. Through such Shraddha, you can realize the truth. If you go to fish in a lake, you must have some knowledge that there is fish in the lake. Otherwise there is no fun in going to fish there. If you knew in advance there is no fish at all, what fun is there to go and fish there? You know there is fish. Wait and you will get it. Similarly, there is truth. I am in search of it. And here is the teacher says so, or the great Upanishads say so. There is a divine truth hidden in me. Then I hold to it and try to make it true by realizing it. That's why Thomas Huxley, collaborator of Darwin, said in the last century, the greatest thing that a man can do in life is to be able to say and to feel that what I believe is true. It's not enough to say I believe. Any fool can say I believe. A man of high conviction alone can say, I believe it is true. That is the definition given to Shraddha here by Shankaracharya. Shastrasya, Guruvakyasya, the words of the Shastra and of the Guru. Satya Buddhi Avadharanam. Try to understand it as truth, not just a belief. That means you have to exercise a lot of your own thinking, your own rational thinking. Sa Shraddha Kathita Sadbhi. Good people have said that is called Shraddha, by which Vastu Upalabhyate. You can realize the truth. In science you need Shraddha. In spiritual life you need Shraddha. All high development need Shraddha behind it. Then, what is called this Samadhana, calmness, steady mind. There is another virtue, Samadhana. What is that definition? Sarvada sthapanam buddhehe shuddhe brahmani sarvada. tat samadhanam ityuktam natu chittasya lalanam. Samadhanam is not the constant modifications of the mind, constant gyrations of the mind. That is not samadhana. Fix the mind in that highest truth. Brahman. Sarvada sthapanam buddhe. This buddhi is fixed always on that Brahman. Shuddhe Brahmani. In that pure consciousness which is the nature of Brahman. Sarvada. Always. Tat samadhanam ityuktam. That is called samadhanam. Natu chittasya lalanam. Not this constant jumping about to the mind like a monkey. That is not what is needed. That steady mind is needed. All this will come by long practice. We have the capacity. Only we must invest some energy in this particular direction so that we can grow inwardly, spiritually, ethically and morally. Then, what is mumukshuta? Mumukshutvam was also mentioned. Desire for moksha or freedom. That is defined. Ahankarati dehantan, bandhan ajnana kalpitan, swaswarupana bodhena, moktumiksha mumukshuta. To liberate oneself is called mumukshuta, the desire to liberate oneself. That's called the desire for moksha. Liberate from what? When you say liberate, it means liberating from something. That something is mentioned in the first line. Ahankaradi dehantan, bandhan, ajnana kalpitan. Here is the body. And here is the ego. From the body up to the ego, there are several factors in the psychophysical system. We must liberate ourselves from all this to realize my true nature as the Atman, ever free, ever illumined. This is holding me down. Body particularly, ego also holding us down. So to liberate oneself from the clutches of the body up to the ego, various intervening items in our individuality. That desire to liberate oneself from this is known as mumukshuta, desire to be free. Man alone can think of it and achieve it. Then says, these qualities, in the beginning it may not be very high, but by cultivation they can be made stronger and stronger and stronger. Manda madhyama rupapi vairagyena shamadina prasadena guroseyam pravruddha suyate phalam. This desire to be free, mumukshutvam, may be in the beginning very ordinary, just a mild attitude only, but it can be cultivated, it can be strengthened. So it says, manda, madhyama, uttama. 3 types of mumukshutva. Very dull is called manda. Madhyama, the middling, middle size. And uttama, the supreme, the best. These are the 3. Manda and madhyama can be trained to make it uttama. How? Prasadena guroseyam. By the prasada of the Guru, by the grace of the Guru, as well as by practice of these virtues mentioned earlier, vairagya, shama, dhamma, titiksha, etc., etc. By these practices, this mumukshutva, desire to be free, in the beginning it was very torpid, very low in energy, but we can make it grow, make it strong. Exactly what happened in our political history. In 1886, when Congress was formed, it was a very mild desire. Very few people took part. Slowly, the nation developed it, strengthened it. Ultimately, it rested freedom. What a wonderful idea. Same thing with regard to our spiritual development. In the beginning, it is manda and madhyama. But we take the aid of these virtues, cultivation of vairagya, shama, dhamma, etc., and the grace of the Guru. When you work hard, grace of God is always there. God helps those who help themselves. It is an ancient saying in English. So we can strengthen this mumukshutva, suyate phalam, and it gives us the result, that is freedom itself. But if these qualities are very torpid, you don't strengthen them, then mumukshutvam will never come at all. You are satisfied with your present state, remain there. Be a creature all the time. That should not be, so warning is given. Et vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasyatu vidyate tasminneva arthavantasyuh phalavantah shamadayah. These shama, dhamma, etc. can find fruition only in that candidate in whom this mumukshutva gets stronger and stronger and stronger. There is a feedback mechanism. Mumukshutva helps Shamadama. Shamadama helps Mumukshutva. They must help each other. It's a continuous development within the individual. Vairagyam cha mumukshutvam tivram yasyata vidyate. Those in whom these two are very strong, in that person or in those persons, mumukshutva will shine and produce the fruit, namely spiritual freedom. Etayor mandata yatra. But if these are very torpid, very mild, no energy, no strength in them, then mumukshutva becomes merely a hope. Without any hope of realizing, because you don't have the means for it. Etayor mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayoho marau salilava tatra. In their case, mumukshutva will be, or moksha will be, just like water in a mirage. You see water, go there, there's no water. That's all what will happen, because you are not strengthened that with these shama, dhamma, vairagya, etc. Now comes, what are the means for moksha? In jnana path, jnana is the means. But Shankara invokes bhakti also. But he defines bhakti from the jnana point of view. And so in verse 31, moksha karana samagryam bhaktireva gariyasi swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktirityabitīyate. In this path of moksha, various ingredients are there to help us. Among all of them, bhakti is supreme. Then what is bhakti? Swaswarupa anusandhanam. Your constant search for your own true nature. That is called bhakti, is a definition. Whereas in bhakti we will say, what is bhakti? Bhakti is love of God. Infinite love of God. That's called bhakti. That's how Bhagavata defined it. Narada Bhakti Sutra defines it. In one sense, this can stand for that also. For a bhakta, his divine nature is God hidden within him as the Antaryamin. That is my true nature. Let me try to realize that. Even that is correct. Swaswarupa anusandhanam. So in the next shloka, he gives another alternative definition. Swatma tattva anusandhanam bhaktirityapare jaguhu. Other teachers say, bhakti means continuous search towards your own true nature, swatma tattva, the nature of your own self, the infinite Atman within you. That is also bhakti. Some teachers say, Ukta sadhana sampanna tattva jijñāsuratmanah upasītet gurum prātyam yasmāt bandha vimokshanam. Any candidate having these qualities, these qualifications, more or less, we may not have it high, but we have something of it, such a candidate shall achieve the higher spiritual development if she approaches a competent teacher who can guide you in the spiritual path. The path is an unknown path, terra incognita. Naturally, some guidance is needed when our explorers go to Mount Everest. What do? They engage Sherpas. They know all the way. They give you all the help. Without them, it is really impossible to climb Mount Everest. Similarly, in spiritual life, there are people who can help us. We call them Guru. And Shankara will give you the most perfect classical definition of a Guru as well as a disciple. Both need definition. Ukta sadhana sampanna tattva jijñāsuhu. I want to know the truth. That's called tattva jijñāsu. Seeking to know the truth of one's own self. Upasītet gurum prātyam. Let him go and approach a teacher who is a wise man, prātyam. And what is his definition? Who is a guru? Yasmāt bandha vimokshanam. From whom you can get help to liberate yourself. That's meaning of a guru. He is in bondage, you come and liberate. In the Chandogya Upanishad, a beautiful example is given. In the Gandhara country, that is northwest frontier province, a man was traveling in the forest. Robbers came, bet him, robbed him, put bandages over his eyes, and kept him there. Then after some time, he just woke up. What's the matter? All bound, can't see anything. He is shouting, please help me, please help me. A kind passerby was going that way. He took compassion on this person. He removed the bandages, removed the bandage from the eyes, gently took him. Here is your town. Here is your village. Go there. That is how the Guru takes a person from creatureliness to freedom. Yasmāt